But now I want to switch gears and talk about oil. Saudi Arabia holds 1/5 of the world's oil reserves, but now it's going to try and develop renewable energy and nuclear power. The kingdom's going green. They see power demand tripling domestically over the next 2 decades. And Kevin Book of ClearView Energy Partners joins us now. So, Kevin, they supply what the world is addicted to, and now they're weaning themselves off of oil. Is this a sign that they're worried about their own supply, or is this a sign that they're just trying to boost exports?
Margaret, I've always thought addiction's a lousy metaphor for oil, but if we're going to use it, let's go back to a 1980s rap song. If you want to be a dope man, don't get high on your own supply. What they don't burn themselves is something they can sell for economic growth. They have a couple of natural advantages, sun being the obvious one, but also their ability to build new construction and integrate solar into the buildings. Last but not least, at high oil prices, the opportunity cost is very high. Every barrel of distillate fuel they burn is something they could be making a lot of money selling to us.
Yeah, and they burn, what, 800,000 barrels of oil a day just to keep the country up and running. But how viable is this? I know Saudi's throwing, I think, $100 billion towards renewable energy in the country. How real is that, or is this just a nice headline?
Well, it's actually a significant uptick. In 2007, when we first started learning about some of the green initiatives in the oil-producing areas of the Middle East, we were looking at between 20 and 30 basis points of top-line oil revenue. At $100 billion, you're starting to come in at a very significant spend, albeit over many years. This is exactly the sort of natural market that we expected to see. The question will be whether or not they can become a sort of a domestic producer with international advantages, or whether they'll simply be a buyer, as frankly much of the West, except for Germany, has become.
So what they're trying to actually spend this $100 billion on, it's solar-based energy, it's nuclear. I mean, what are we actually looking at? Because they'll present opportunities, clearly, for international companies to come in and build that infrastructure.
Well, yeah, the easy and obvious target is nuclear power. It's baseload generation that's always on. It's good for industrial capacity, but it's not the only thing that's out there. Partly it's their limited access to other resources that are important for other fuels. It's not going to be wind generation, Margaret, but solar, nuclear, electric vehicles have an opportunity there as well. Clean air concerns are absolutely vital in the long run. They're trying to build green cities, and the best part about it is that they can. Frankly, they have a clean slate. They have a significant social obligation the government furnishes. That gives them both the power of the purse and the power to plan decisions that are greener in nature.
Well, oil within Saudi obviously keeps their coffers flush, and they need the price to be about $83 a barrel to maintain the level of spending that they have. We're well above that, clearly, here in the New York trade. I mean, there is that worry about diminishing supply. Saudi oil ministers always brush it off. Do you believe that there really is that worry on the back burner for them?
Margaret, if you went and looked at the wells that have been drilled in the Texas areas that were Spindletop Dome, for example, they look like a very hirsute pincushion, porcupine. There's wells everywhere. If you look at the Arabian Peninsula using Aramco's own maps, it's clear they haven't drilled that many wells. I think a lot of this peak oil discussion is silly, and part of the reason is that there hasn't been anywhere near peak exploration in Saudi Arabia. What they are doing is they're running out of the cheapest oil, and for the economy that they run, cheap oil is the imperative. So ultimately, they're going to have to find ways to diversify their supply of energy to their own people and try to maximize revenues to maintain their own social compact. Running out of oil, don't think so.
Oh, we know it's a German company that just signed the biggest solar project inside of Saudi. French officials just signed a nuclear power agreement with Saudi just within the past few months. How does this compare to what nearby Abu Dhabi is doing? They've been trying to get into the alternative energy business for quite some time.
And with actually a foundation that looks closer at the conventional innovation process. They've tried to build a university to exploit some of the existing knowledge in the world and funnel it into the Masdar Institute and create a green hub in the Middle East. And frankly, again, it's an early stage development, but when you have a highly centralized government empowered with oil as a way to spend money on their next generation infrastructure, you have a real opportunity, and it's not one I would discount.
Kevin, it's always great talking to you, even when you don't have 80s rap song quotes to bring to the table. Your analysis is great. We're going to leave it there, Kevin, and talk to you some other time.